really sure what to expect or what you're going to find behind the prison door. So first time we went in to prison, I wasn't sure what to expect. And we were nervous because I have never been to prison. Some of the guys who went in with us, they had, but many of us hadn't. And this is when it became real for me, what the culture, the experience was like, the people we're trying to reach, who they are, and why we need to be there. So for our first time walking in, you go through all the security clearance, you walk through a giant cage, which is an electrified fence, and then through several large metal doors. You look up and there's 30-foot tall concrete walls. We went inside of a small corridor, and one of the most interesting parts of this journey into the prison was the very final door before entering into the yard. The yard is where, in this particular yard, there's 700 inmates. They had some free time. There's one last metal door with a small plate glass window. And as you're looking through that window out at several hundred sweaty men pumping iron, all tatted up, you're thinking, do I really want that door to open? And then it slowly starts to slide open and you step foot onto the yard, and you're not sure how to behave or what to do or say or how to interact as you get near some of the inmates. And for the first time for us, I didn't know if I should look them in the eye. Is that a thing where I'm going to be challenging them, or do I look away? But if I look away, they're going to think I'm weak, so I don't want to do that either. So how do I interact? But before long, and after saying hello or good morning to a couple of the guys, you pretty quickly realize these are ordinary guys. These are guys that are doing time. They've committed crime and they're there, but more or less they're just like me and you. They're ordinary. They like to have the same conversations we like to have, and before long, you're not nervous being there. You're comfortable. And beyond that, you actually become excited to return and interact and provide hope in a place where there's not a lot of hope going on. When we decided to start a church in a prison through community freedom, one of the questions that arose was, well, how are we going to fund this? Who's going to do it? Do we pay a pastor to go in there? And after all, I mean, prisoners aren't exactly making a lot of money to provide for generosity and giving. Another area we wanted to plant churches in was retirement homes. We thought, well, we're doing a good job of planting churches people can come to, but what about all the places people can't? Retirement homes, prisons. So we planted a church in a retirement home and then made the big ask to them and cast vision. What if through this retirement home we could fund and care for all the prisoners behind the walls? So every week the prisoners, they fill out connection cards and prayer requests. Those prayer requests make it back to the retirement home, and the folks there spend their time praying for the prisoners. They actually write letters to them, and the vision there is let's adopt the prison, let's fund the church and the ministry that's happening in the prison. So the relationship has been incredible between the two, and we're able to fund both locations through the generosity of the people in the retirement home. The thing that inspires me the most about all of this is that God is constantly reaching. He's constantly reaching into new areas, into unreached groups of people. So even when we're busy planting our churches and working in our churches, God is still dropping things in our hearts and in our minds, and showing us the places he wants to go, the people that he wants to reach. And even in some of these places that seem difficult, or we don't know how, like behind the walls of a prison, how are we ever supposed to go there? It's funny how God has opened door after door after door and provided relationship after relationship to get his church behind the walls of the prison. It's something we could have never done without God leading the way and showing us how.